All right, kids. So a couple things real quickly. So some of you also still need to take the test from Friday. Okay, I would do that before break, but you don't have to do that before break. You tell me, but like, what's that? Yeah, if you want to, that's fine. I mean, it's fine, whatever. Okay, you just can't do bones after break. Okay, muscles after break, but no bones after break. Okay, because we've had lots of time for you to do that. All right, here's where we left off. We did three muscles. This is the thyrohyoid, okay, or maybe we did four. This is the sternothyroid. This is the sternohyoid, and this is the omohyoid. Okay, those are the three. Remember, we're omohyoid. Remember, we're chunking these. Okay, so all of these muscles, by the way, and I'm just going to move this to the side. And Abby, if you're following me on the app, were you able to find this picture? Okay. Okay. You know, I've debated which picture to show, but I like the front because you can see a little bit better. But I really want you to realize that this bone is so incredibly important to swallowing and to also speaking, because it's an attachment point for muscles. Remember, there's an origin and insertion. Okay, remind me after I finish these muscles today. I want to look at our muscle list. Okay, make sure everybody's on there. Yes.
Does that bone just kind of float there?
It just totally just kind of floats there. Okay.
So like no other bone is like there to help it.
Now, if you look at Chad here, you can kind of see where it's close to this cervical vertebra. Okay, but there's tissue around that.
So it doesn't there's no like cartilage separating it from another bone or anything.
I mean, there's definitely so this would be considered like non-muscular, so that would be connective tissue, right? So this is like, it's just muscle and cartilage, yeah. So this should be picture 4, okay? And it should look like this. Picture 4 should look like this, right?
Can you say them all again?
Yeah, picture 4.
Yeah, but like where is it on the?
So this is the person's chin, right? And this is their sternum. So it's everything from like basically here to here. Like it's all surrounding your Adam's apple. Your hyoid is right above your larynx, your Adam's apple. So if you can feel your Adam's apple, then right above that is that hyoid bone. Now you can't really feel the hyoid bone because there's muscles and tissues around there. Okay, but that's where it's located. Does that help you, Carissa? Okay, so the 4 muscles on pick 4 are number 1, thyrohyoid, 2, sternothyroid, 3 is sternohyoid, and 4 is omohyoid.
What's number 1 again?
Okay, sternothyroid. Now people are like, how the heck am I supposed to? I will give you some hints, like I'll say there's the thyroid gland, right? Okay, so you'll know that this one and this one are located near the thyroid gland. This one is incredibly easy because it's in between 2 bones, the hyoid and the sternum, sternohyoid. Okay, now I'm going to add a layer here, and this is a giant muscle called the sternocleidomastoid. Cleido always refers to the clavicle. Okay, so cleido here, sternum, and mastoid, the mastoid process. Now, when you look at this muscle, it looks giant. Okay, when I look at it from the side, okay, you can see it's a little bit thinner. Okay, I'll show you by itself what it looks like. It's incredibly a thin muscle. Okay, but it helps with rotating and laterally flexing the neck. Okay, think about the importance of stabilizing your neck. Okay, so you're like, people are asking me like, why do you have so many muscles up there? Okay, right? Why isn't it just like 1 or 2? Like, well, hopefully it's not just 1, because if there's just 1 and something goes bad with that 1, then you're in trouble, right? Why is it important to stabilize this area of your body?
The little cup that holds like your life source.
Okay, it does hold my life source, but like, why would I want more protection in this area muscularly? Yeah, it could kill you, or it could also do what to you?
Paralyzed.
Paralyzed, right? you have a C1 through C5 injury, okay, like in those cervical vertebra, right? You're going to be a quadriplegic, not a paraplegic, right? You're not going to be able to move your arms or your legs, okay? So think about the importance of stabilizing that. Yes, it's important for our head, okay, but it's also important for, protecting this area, okay, of our body, right? We want to protect that. And so we've got a lot of muscles in there that will do that, as well as the bones too. But I like the sternocleidomastoid. There you can see just kind of a sternocleidomastoid. Yeah, yeah. It's a nice one. It does help with that lateral flexion there. Okay, so that's just the only one on pick 5. Okay, so on the test, this will always be number 5. Okay. All right, now, Abby, you might want to watch me do this. I'm going to click so it's just the head, and then I swoop up like this, and I'm going to add a couple layers, and that's going to give me the inferior view. And Grace, you're on the app too, I forgot.
Yeah.
Okay, the inferior view of, so now I'm looking like below, right? Here's that cervical vertebra, but there's the foramen magnum that's going to go into the brain. There's the mastoid process, styloid process is right over there. There's the hyoid bone. Here's the body. Okay, there's the condyloid process of the mandible. Okay, mental foramen's up here. Okay, so if I were to take Lace's jaw and rip it off, okay, her body, which would be cool, I could literally eat the meat off of the bottom of her mandible, right? Okay, so underneath there is a lot of quote unquote meat. Now there's other stuff like skin and fat there too. I saw a funny TikTok this weekend where this girl, like she's staring at the camera, she writes an I right there.
Yes.
Have you seen this one?
Oh,
And then she does a
yeah.
U right there. So it just says I, you, and then she goes, and the love comes out like from like the skin underneath her chin, right? It was a cute little thing. Okay, but there you go. Okay, so there are 3 muscles here. Okay, there's this one, and I want you to notice, and I'm going to show you a video of this one. It's really cool. It's called the digastric. And the digastric is interesting because there's an anterior and posterior belly. Okay, so we call these bellies because like pretty much any muscle, just like this would be the belly of my bicep, right? And so this muscle, I'm so glad that they gave us a video of or an animation of this. Okay, it is or originates in the fossa of the mandible. Okay, the digastric fossa, maybe mandible people. I should have added that one maybe in the future. The intermediate tendon of the minor cornu or lesser cornu of the hyoid bone. Okay, but look, like watch what it does. It's cool. And I'm gonna kill this light so you can really see it. Okay. Do you notice how it's getting fat right there? Okay, right there, fat, and then right here, fat. Okay, so here it is. It comes down. This is that hyoid bone, and you can see it's going to be depressing the mandible. Okay, and that's important, of course, for chewing, for talking, all those things. It's amazing to think about how all these muscles are constantly working. Okay, so that's the digastric. Underneath the digastric is a muscle called the mylohyoid, and it's right here. This is truly what you would call the meat of the mandible. Okay, and you can see all those other muscles have been removed. You can see that this main part right here is in fact the mylohyoid. Oh, I don't know why they did this way. There it is. So you see the hyoid bone and the mylohyoid, just that inferior part of the mandible. Elevates and draws the hyoid bone forward, elevates the tongue, and depresses the mandible. So a lot of these muscles underneath here will be working with our tongue. And the last one on this picture is a weirdie. Now, let me show you where it's going to be. It's just this tiny little guy right there, okay? And let me erase that pin mark, and I will show you where it's originate and inserts. Right there and right there. If we look at it by itself, you will notice that this is also one of those perfectly named muscles, the stylohyoid. Here's the hyoid, here's the styloid process. There's the styloid process, there's the hyoid bone. Okay, So that stylohyoid, again, a very small muscle, okay, but important for elevating and retracting that hyoid bone and assisting in lowering the mandible. I think that's such a little cutie. Stylohyoid. So 3 muscles underneath there. Okay, now pick 7 should look like this. Okay, you've got 2 muscles. These 2, this one here, like this, okay, and then one off to the side over here. So let's look at this one first. This is called geniohyoid. Okay, it depresses the mandible and elevates the hyoid bone. Here's what it looks like by itself. Okay, it's anterior or superior to the mylohyoid. So this would be, as we were removing layers, okay, this one would be on top, mylo would be on bottom. Okay, and this muscle helps depression of the mandible. Okay, pretty cool right there. And let's see. So the mental spine of the mandible and the body of the hyoid bone are those origins and insertions. That's the geniohyoid. Now let's go over here to this one called the hyoglossus. Okay, maybe you've heard that root term, glossus, meaning tongue. Glossolalia is speaking in tongues, if you've heard that before. Glossolalia. Where does that come from? It all refers to that muscle, the tongue. Okay, so and why hyoglossus? This is the hyoid bone, right? Glossus meaning tongue. So what does this muscle do? It will retract and depress the sides of the tongue. Okay, and it is weird to think about all the things our tongue can do. Have you ever had like a reaction where your tongue swells up and you're like, oh, I can't talk very much? It's kind of a weird thing. It happened to me once. And I was like, oh, this is freaking me out, man. Okay. If someone's having a seizure, of course, we all know the first thing to do is to put your hand in their mouth so that they don't swallow their tongue, right? Bad idea, because guess what's going to happen to your fingers? Bite them off, right? If you're having a seizure, you're not going to swallow your tongue. Yeah.
I just talking about the geniohyoid.
Yeah.
The one you do is one directly. Is that just
Same thing. Yep, same thing. Yep. Great question.
Where's the
Hyoglossus.
yeah.
Here, I'll draw it for you. It's just this little one right there. Okay, so this is geniohyoid. So this is hyoglossus, geniohyoid. Thanks for asking about that question. Okay, the whole, I don't know where else, maybe somebody swallowed their tongue at that point, but yeah, for the most part, don't ever put your hand in someone's mouth if they're having a seizure. Okay.
You're supposed to lay them flat.
It's like one of those weird things that
If you touch them, they could either hit themselves or you.
yeah.
Because then,
Yeah. Well, so I'll never forget my Spanish teacher in high school. We watched a movie in Spanish and we were all like, whoa, this whole thing is in Spanish. How are we supposed to understand anything? This is like, VCR kind of thing. Like, we're like, how did you get this movie in Spanish? Anyway, I'll never forget it because this guy I don't remember anything about the Spanish. Okay. But I remember the guy in the movie, the main character was knew something, knew too much. And the end of the movie, you just see him holding his tongue out and taking a knife and cutting his tongue off. It's the only thing I can remember from 4 years of Spanish right there. Okay. He knew too much until he didn't want to be able to talk. So then he wouldn't have to talk.
Yeah, but you can still talk without your tongue. You just can't yeah, that's what you would have to say.
Tongue. It's the most dangerous muscle in the world.
Actually,
All right.
you'd probably be able to say a lot more stuff.
Maybe
with that
so. I don't know.
thing.
All right, let's go to the back. And your last picture looks like this. All right, these muscles all kind of make sense. They're called the splenius capitis, semispinalis capitis, splenius cervicis, and levator scapulae. Okay, anytime you hear capitis, like per capita. Okay, if I'm saying I give you some numbers and say per capita, what does that mean? per capita is per what? What do you think? Huh? Capital, nice try. Nope.
Is it human? Yep.
Okay, you're very close. It is like per human, but more specifically, per capita. Yeah. Where do you wear a cap?
Per brain.
Per head. Okay, so anytime you hear capita, that's per head. Okay, so fovea capitis, where would I find that? That's on the
head.
femur, but the head of the femur, right? Yeah, good job, femur boy. Okay, all right. So
Femur
when
boy.
he's got the femur. So we're at it. All right. So per capita means we're talking about like the head area. So the first muscle is called semispinalis capitis, and this is right here. Okay, on both sides. Okay, and this is cheesy, but this is how I remember it. Semi truck. This reminds me of like a grill of a semi truck. Stupid, I know, but that's how I always remember it. Cap meaning head. Okay, so we used to be able to wear hats here. Did you guys know that? Like back in the day. Okay, somebody came in to visit the school with the superintendent, and they said to the superintendent, "Oh, I can't believe you allow your students to wear hats." The next day, we all got an email that said, "No hats," just like that. Boom, and we're all like, "What?" I saw kids' heads I'd never seen before in my life, and it was freaky. Like some seniors, I was like, "Whoa, your hair's weird, man." Like totally, never had seen these kids' heads. It was crazy. All right, per capita. That's semispinalis capitis. Okay, here we go. Next one is splenius capitis. Okay. Oh wait, I should show you this one here. Okay, here's the semispinalis capitis by itself. Okay, here's the media. Okay, it does help with the lateral flexion of the neck. You can see it. Okay, originating
Wait, it's all of
over
that?
there. All of that. Yep. So those transverse processes of the cervical vertebra going up into the occipital bone. So all this is going up here. Okay, inserting. Remember, insertion's where the movement's going to happen. So when we look at just these guys by itself, look at this, man. They're going all the way down. Any sort of bump on the bone, right, is a place for muscle to attach. So all those little lines, okay, together make up the semispinalis capitis. Really, really a cool muscle. So then here we go with the splenius capitis. It's also going to originate in the spine, but it's at the cervical vertebra and thoracic vertebra. It's going to go from there to the mastoid process. So when you look at this by itself, okay, you can see the spinous processes, boom, 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 and then going up to the mastoid process. And those muscles too are going to help with that flexion. And let's see if it's got some media here. Yeah, lateral flexion of the neck. All those working together. All right. This next muscle is called the splenius cervicis. Okay, and cervicis should remind you of something. Okay, anytime we say cervical, right, or cervix. Okay, so the cervical vertebra are where in my body? Yeah, my neck, right? Okay, so where would I find the cervix? And do I have one?
Yeah.
I do not have a
You're a
cervix.
dude.
Yeah, I'm a dude. Okay, so I don't have a cervix. Okay, where's
Women
women
have cervix.
have cervix? Where's the cervix located? Yeah, okay. Whoa. Okay. Yeah, okay. You're very close. The end knot of the vaginal. Well, it depends on where you're talking in. It's the back wall of the. Thank you.
It's hard to explain. Okay, that's not as bad as you talking about the rectum and going.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Sorry. Yeah, so it's the back wall of the vaginal canal, right? But what is it? Is it just its own thing?
No, it's like attached to.
It's attached to the what?
The uterus, right?
It's the neck of the uterus, right? So every single one of you came out of the cervix, right? Okay, so remember I showed you a few weeks ago on Med Talk Monday that uterus in that person's hand, right? And I said, see that little dot? That's where you came out. And ladies, when you have birth someday, okay, a doctor or a nurse are literally going to check. They have to stick their fingers inside to see how much you've dilated, right? That's the only way. It's not like they can like put their hands on you. Okay, no, they have to check with their fingers. So you get trained.
Isn't that why they take the little scab, the little like duck looking thingy and spread it
Oh,
open? And,
yeah, they don't do that during birth.
No,
That's
they
when
do
the-
that before when they're checking everything.
that's when you get a pap smear.
Yeah.
We'll talk more about those
What's a
later.
pap smear?
Pap smear, very important. Pap smears, you gotta have. Yeah,
A
one.
couple of years.
Yeah, you'll get one. You'll 100%. Yeah. No, but she probably won't. She's well. We could talk later about when you need to get one, but like some say 21, but a lot of people now are recommending 18.
My
If you're
parents-
Isn't
16.
it when you start being sexually active?
Oh, my mom said I won't need it until before I get married because of my yeah.
I would highly recommend getting it when everyone get it when they're 21, whether they're sexually active or not, because what happens is when you like when let's see, I don't know how far to get into this without look, HPV, human papilloma virus, everyone in this room will probably get it at some point in their life. Okay, it doesn't matter if you've had 20 partners or if you've had one partner. Okay, like the CDC, it's a virus and it can cause cervical cancer. Some people get a shot called Gardasil. It is a vaccine that prevents from a few types of cervical cancer. What's that? It's 3 shots.
Yeah,
Yep,
I
then
have.
you got it. So that's great. That's good to know. Okay, but a pap smear, I'll give you the details later, but basically it is when you get your cervix checked and make sure that you do not get cervical, because cervical cancer can cause death. I've known several people, and cervical cancer also is not caused 100% by HPV. It's caused by many, well, I mean, like you can just get it. Yeah. So pap smears they'll go in and they'll check for those cells and then see. So there you go. Whew. Yeah. So cervix, right? Cervix.
You have 2 minutes.
Right. Okay, services. Okay, last one is this one. It's the easiest one of all. It's called the levator scapulae. Okay, why levator? Why do you think it's called the levator scapulae? It elevates the scapula. Bingo, bingo. Okay, here we go. It elevates the scapula. Boom, here it is. Boom, there it is. And you can see, here's that medial border, okay, of the scapula. Okay, there's the supraspinous fossa, there's the spine, there's the infraspinous fossa, there's the levator scapulae. You can see it's going into those transverse processes. Thanks for listening,
Wait,
folks. I appreciate it.
Place away.
Yeah.
Anyways.